Are you here because you're considering buying a salvage title vehicle? Do you have any idea how happy that makes me? I'm going to reveal 10 tips for you to make sure that you make the right decision. 10 things I wish I would have known before I became completely obsessed with salvage cars. Ready for the first tip? Know the seller. No, not personally. You need to know that they exist. Is that confusing? Let me explain. If you're buying a wrecked car from an auction website, you can actually see who's selling the vehicle. In this specific case, this car is being sold by an insurance company. You want to buy cars from insurance companies. They just paid the previous owner for this car, and all the insurance company wants to do is recoup some money. So the damage you see in the pictures is likely an accurate representation of the actual damage that needs to be repaired. Compare that to this listing of a wrecked car where there's actually no seller listed. This is a red flag. Run. Run as fast as you can. Don't stop running. Got it? The reason there's no seller listed is because there's something wrong with that car that those pictures is not showing. And the seller doesn't want you to know about it until it's too late after you've purchased the car. Buy cars from insurance companies. Now, if you're buying a car that doesn't have damage, meaning it's already been fixed in the past, then you're probably going to have a one-on-one interaction with the seller, which is a good thing. You can ask all the important questions about the car's history, what was damaged, what was fixed, how much it costs, and what the car needs in order to become 100% once again. Tip number 2, estimate the repair cost before you buy the car. If you know what parts you're going to need, you can head over to eBay Motors and look at the prices. If it's a Toyota Camry and it needs a new hood, it's probably less than $100. But if you're bidding on a Lamborghini Huracan, it might cost you up to 10 grand for that same hood. Knowing the price of a repair ahead of time can help you negotiate with the seller, or at least know how much you'd be willing to bid at the auction. Having to replace this headlight on our 911 is a great example. I knew our 911 was going to need a new headlight, but I had no idea it would cost $1,000 for a headlight that I don't even like. I wish I would have known that ahead of time. So tip number 3 is to do it yourself. If you buy a salvage car, you're going to spend money on the rebuild. In my case, I had to buy parts from eBay Motors. This strut was about $100. You can't find free parts. And once you have your parts figured out, you have to have your labor figured out. If you pay for parts and labor, you're going to lose. You're going to be financially upside down in your salvage build, and you would have been better off just paying for a clean title vehicle from the beginning. Don't even think about it. Now, if you're going to do the work yourself, you're going to need a garage to work in. The benefit of having a garage is you can work at your own pace. The downside is sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get these projects finished than you initially thought. If you buy your project in the summertime but don't get around to painting it until the winter, that could be a huge problem. This PPG paint has to be sprayed at 70 degrees. So you come out to the garage and find it's 59 degrees. Guess what? No paint and no body work for you. It's okay. Put your project away until the spring. It'll be warm again in about 6 months. No, not gonna fly. That's because we got hooked up by the folks over at TEMPWARE. First impression, nice color. Second impression, perfect size. And this is the TEMPWARE 7500 watt workshop heater. As simple as it is to wire and install one of these heaters, you should leave this portion to a licensed electrician. Now, although this unit can heat up to 1,200 square feet, I'm in a 400 square foot garage, which means I want to hang this thing way up out of the way. With 4 independently adjustable air louvers and a swivel top ceiling mount, we can direct hot air anywhere we need to. Now, if you end up mounting that heater so high up on the ceiling that you can't reach it, you're gonna be okay because TEMPWARE included a remote. Now, on the unit itself, you can turn the temperature up and down or set a timer if you're the type of person to forget to turn it off. But don't worry if you are, there's an eco mode. That way you can heat your garage while saving energy. Don't forget all these options are available on the fancy remote. And if you're feeling extra fancy, toggle between Fahrenheit and Celsius so you can pretend you're somewhere that you're not. It's just under 60 degrees in the workshop right now. Let's set this thing to 95 degrees and see how high it climbs in 15 minutes. So after 15 minutes of heating the garage, we're already sitting at 73 degrees. Don't be fooled by this little unit. That puts out 25,000 BTUs. Now, if you think that might be too many BTUs, don't you worry. That little heater has overheat protection. It'll just shut off if it gets too hot. I'm gonna set the thermostat to 70 degrees so we can get back to work. Special shout out to TEMPWARE for sponsoring today's video. There's a link in the description down below if you wanna buy one of these heaters, and now I can vouch for them. They're good. Oh, they're good. There are a couple fees I need to tell you about. Listen closely. Tip number 4, beware of the hidden fees. Bonus tip, if you're gonna have a custom license plate, don't make it hard to figure out. Just kidding, that's not a real tip, although it probably should be. The next step is to get your car enhanced inspected. What that means is they're actually gonna look at the damage that we repaired to make sure it's legit. Don't come to this place. It's apparently moved to a new location. Either way, it's gonna cost you 150 bucks. Oh, and that's not the last time you're gonna have to pay the man. Next tip, take it to the dealer. Hear me out. Although this car's history report will always be tainted by a total loss accident, the best thing you can do about that is add to the Carfax report at the dealer by getting this dealer's stamp of approval. Hey, I'm here for the stamp of approval.
I don't think that's something you do.
Do you have any hacks? So the dealership's nice, but I don't fit in. The good news is that's my car coming off the rack right now. It should be finished, and hopefully I can pay for this thing and get the hell out of here before I spend my retirement.
Have a good one.
Take care. Tip number 6, pay your taxes. Remember, when you buy the car at the auction, you don't pay sales tax on the bid price. So in order to get your title, you're gonna have to do that. I prefer these tiny little places like the one behind me because they don't ask any questions. It still costs 800 bucks, so pay your taxes. Tip number 7, your car is worth less. A salvage sports car is worth like 15% less than its clean title equivalent. A regular car like a Honda Accord with a salvage title, it's probably worth like 20% less. So keep that in mind when you're fixing one of these cars. Tip number 8, salvage titles can be difficult to transfer between states. Heads up, some states don't recognize each other's salvage titles. Like if you buy a car with a salvage title in New York and then transfer it to Pennsylvania, sometimes Pennsylvania won't even accept it. So you have to be careful. That can be such a serious headache sometimes that I'll often recommend you buy your first salvage title vehicle with a title from the state that you already live in. Tip number 9, use a broker. If you just sign into a salvage auction, you can only bid on cars that are available to the public, and there aren't that many of them. So if you use a broker, you now enter that same auction as a dealer, and you can bid on any car that you want. Broker fees are about $250, but it's way worth it because now you don't have to wait for the right car to show up that's available publicly. And tip number 10, don't be afraid. There's a really bad reputation that comes along with buying a salvage title, but it's completely inappropriate. There are plenty of cars on the road today with clean titles that have rust and rot and bad engines. And I've purchased, fixed, and sold over a dozen of these vehicles, some with clean titles, some with no title, others with salvage title, and all of my favorites. My top 3 cars I've ever had, driven, fixed, worked on, salvage titles. So go out, find one, buy your first one, have fun with it, and prove the stereotype wrong. Of course, unless you run into a major problem, in which case, sorry.